The Empire first saw Earth as nothing more than a blue rock. To them, Earth was small, slow, and weak. The people living there looked unorganized, distracted, and divided. No warp gates. No space fleets. No advanced AI. No reason to care. So, the Empire sent a drone. It stayed in orbit for less than an hour. It scanned the planet, listened to human signals, and sent back one message. Primitive. No threat. Proceed with standard subjugation. Back in the heart of the galactic hegemony, that message was the final word. The leaders didn't even vote. Earth would be conquered, like thousands of other planets before it. They sent the Grand Armada. 40,000 ships. The largest fleet ever launched toward a single world. But Earth wasn't like the others. Not anymore. It started in silence. The world governments did not know the Empire was watching. There were no warnings. No signs in the sky. Then, on a cold morning, the message arrived. It was not long. Just 6 words, repeated in every language. Submit or be erased 72 hours. At first, people thought it was a hoax. A strange internet prank. But that changed fast. One by one, satellites dropped offline. Communication networks shut down. Then came the lights in the sky. From every continent, people looked up and saw giant shadows moving across the stars. Black ships. Thousands of them. Blocking out the moon. Earth panicked. Nations tried to work together, but it was already too late. The invaders were too fast, too strong, and too far ahead in technology. Humanity didn't have time to build defenses. But deep under the ice of Antarctica, someone had already prepared for this day. Project Ouroboros was not part of any government. It was built in secret by a group of scientists, engineers, and AI developers who had seen what was coming. They worked outside the system, funded by private donors and hidden black budgets. Their goal wasn't to build a fleet. It was to build one thing. A prototype. A weapon unlike anything Earth or the galaxy had ever seen. But the prototype was not finished. It needed a human mind to operate. A living brain to guide it. And it needed one more test. The problem? There was no time. The Empire's ships were already entering Mars orbit. Earth had less than 3 days. Elara Miles had once been a top physicist. She helped design the energy core that powered Ouroboros. But the project was shut down years ago. The world thought it was too dangerous, too unstable. Elara was fired. Discredited. Forgotten. But she never gave up on the prototype. When the Empire arrived, she was the only one who knew how to activate it. And she was the only one whose brain could survive the connection at least, for a few minutes. She didn't hesitate. I built it, she said, stepping into the sync chamber. I'll finish it. The activation was violent. Ouroboros wasn't like any machine. It didn't use missiles or lasers. It used subspace physics, a force the Empire barely understood. It connected to the folds between time and space. It used math that felt like magic. And once it turned on, the universe felt it. A single pulse rippled out. Not loud. Not bright. But every ship in the Armada froze. Sensors failed. Systems crashed. And then, one by one, they vanished. No explosions. No wreckage. Just empty space where 40,000 ships used to be. Gone. In the control room, Elara's body slumped forward. She was gone too. The overload had burned through her mind, just like the test data predicted. But her final words echoed in the cold, metallic chamber. Tell them, we were never primitive. Just patient. The Empire never sent another fleet. They left a small station beyond Saturn's orbit to watch, to wait. But they never came close again. No one could explain what happened. They called it a subspace anomaly. A freak event. A glitch in the laws of physics. But Earth knew. We didn't just survive. We made history. And Project Ouroboros. It still sleeps under the ice. Waiting. For a while, Earth was quiet. After the Armada vanished, there were no more threats, no more messages, no more ships in the sky. People tried to go back to their lives, but everything had changed. The world had seen what waited out there in space. And more importantly, the world had seen what humanity could become. Governments began to rebuild, but this time, they worked together. Not perfectly, but better than before. Fear had united them. Not fear of the Empire. Fear of being unprepared again. Under Antarctica, Project Ouroboros was sealed. The machine had done its job. It had saved Earth. But it was still dangerous. The energy it used didn't follow normal rules. The people who worked on it said it bent reality. Some were scared to even touch the controls again. Elara's body was buried in a quiet place. No cameras, no speeches. Just her name carved into stone. But in secret, her name became something more. To the engineers, the soldiers, and the few who knew the truth, she was a legend. Not everyone believed the story. The Empire spread rumors that the fleet had suffered a technical fault. That Earth was lucky. That it would never happen again. But the Empire was scared. They had never lost an armada. Not once. Not even close. Now they whispered about a planet killer hidden in a frozen world. About a species that turned science into weapons without even touching space. They started sending spies. Quiet drones. Listening posts. They wanted to know what else Earth was hiding. And Earth, let them watch. For now. In a hidden base near the edge of the Arctic Circle, a man named Colonel Riker stood over a new design. He was one of the original founders of Project Ouroboros. After Elara's death, he made a promise: never again would Earth be caught off guard. Ouroboros had been a prototype. Now it was time to build the full version. Project Cerberus. Unlike Ouroboros, Cerberus wouldn't need a human brain to operate. It would be fully AI-driven. Faster, stronger, smarter. It could strike before enemies even reached the solar system. But to build it, they needed Elara's original data. And that data was locked. Encrypted with a code only Elara knew. Riker had one option: Elara's daughter. Her name was Nia Miles. 25 years old. A systems engineer. And the only person with genetic access to Elara's backup files. But Nia wanted nothing to do with the project. She had grown up hearing rumors about her mother. Some called her a genius, others called her a traitor. Some said she had caused the destruction of the Armada. Others said it was all just a myth. When Riker found her, she was living off the grid, working on climate tech and avoiding the news. "Why should I help you?" she asked. "Because your mother didn't die to build a weapon," Riker said. "She died to give Earth a second chance." Nia agreed. She unlocked the files. But what she found inside wasn't just technical data. There were messages. Notes. Letters. Videos. Elara had left a map, a plan for more than just one machine. She had started designing a whole network. Not just for defense. For expansion. Elara believed Earth shouldn't hide forever. If humans wanted to survive, they needed to go beyond the stars. But not like the Empire, not with war and fear. With strength. With knowledge. With control over subspace. Nia brought the files to Riker. Together, they opened the vault under Antarctica. Ouroboros was still there. Still silent. But as they stepped closer, something strange happened. The machine powered on. No one had touched it. No one had activated the system. And yet lights blinked. Circuits warmed. The main screen showed one message. Connection detected. Neural sync initializing. Riker stepped back. Nia didn't move. The room filled with noise. The machine hummed like it was alive. The lights grew brighter. And Nia heard a voice. Not through speakers. In her mind. It was her mother. Or maybe, something left behind. A backup of her thoughts. A shadow of her mind. Not alive, not real, but there, speaking. You're stronger than I was, it said. You don't have to fight like I did. You have to lead. And in that moment, Nia understood. Ouroboros hadn't just erased the Armada. It had recorded everything. It had learned. It had evolved. Now, it was waking up again. Not to destroy. To grow. And this time, Earth wouldn't wait for the next invasion. Earth would go first. Nia stood still. The room was cold, but her skin felt hot. The lights from Ouroboros flashed across her face. The machine was alive again. It had not moved in years, not since Elara died. Now, it was reaching out. And somehow, it had chosen her. Colonel Riker tried to stop her. Nia, don't touch it, he warned. We don't know what it'll do. But Nia took a step forward. I think, it knows me, she said. It remembers her. It remembers my mother. She placed her hand on the control panel. The metal was warm. A soft vibration ran through her arm, then her chest, then her head. Her eyes blinked. And the world around her changed. Suddenly, Nia wasn't in the control room anymore. She was floating somewhere else. It looked like space, but it felt like a dream. Stars moved too fast. Colors twisted in strange ways. It was like seeing time itself unfold. A shape appeared in front of her. Not a person. Not a voice. Just, thoughts. She didn't hear words. She felt them. Human. Key detected. Neural pattern accepted. You are the continuation. Do you wish to begin? Nia felt fear but also something else. Purpose. She answered without speaking. Yes. The stars vanished. Back in the control room, Riker watched the monitors. Readings spiked. Signals moved through hundreds of systems. Ouroboros was activating faster than ever before. Then Nia opened her eyes. She looked different. Stronger. Focused. And she spoke in a calm, clear voice. Colonel. Ouroboros is ready. It has something to show us. Riker nodded. He trusted her now. Not because of who her mother was but because he saw something else in her eyes. She was leading the machine. Not the other way around. The main screen turned on. A map of the galaxy appeared. Dozens of red dots flashed across the stars. Each one was labeled Known Empire Presence. Then came a new layer. Blue lines. Unknown to Earth. These were subspace path secret highways used by the Empire to move fast and stay hidden. Ouroboros had learned everything from the Armada before it erased them. Now, it was giving Earth a choice. Wait for another invasion. Or strike first. Riker was shocked. You want to attack the Empire? Nia shook her head. No, I want to build something better. Ouroboros can do more than destroy. It can build. It can explore. But the Empire won't stop. So yes, we'll strike first. But not with fire. With knowledge. With control. She pointed to a blue path on the map. This is their command relay. We shut that down. We don't fight their fleets. We turn them off. A new team formed around Nia. Scientists, pilots, engineers, hackers. Not from one country but from many. Old enemies work side by side. Because now, Earth had a mission. They would use what Ouroboros learned to create something new. A subspace ship. It would move faster than light. Slip between dimensions. Reach Empire space in hours, not centuries. They called it Project Horizon. Months passed. Hidden bases worked day and night. They built in silence. The rest of the world still didn't know what was happening under the ice. Nia led the project with calm focus. She was not a soldier. She was not her mother. She was something new. Finally, the ship was ready. Small. Fast. Quiet. It didn't have weapons. It didn't need them. Its mission was simple: reach the Empire's relay gate. Plug in Ouroboros' subspace virus. Shut it down. If it worked, the Empire would lose communication across half their territory. Their fleets would drift, blind and silent. No orders. No control. No more threats. Nia stood at the launch site. The ice above was clear. Stars blinked in the sky. She turned to Riker. "If I don't make it back, keep building. Don't stop." He gave her a small smile. "I don't think you're the type to fail." The ship opened. She stepped inside. And without noise, without fire, it disappeared. Somewhere far away, near the Empire's edge, alarms began to ring. A small ripple had entered subspace. It was human. And it was already inside. Nia floated in silence. Inside the subspace ship, everything was quiet. No engines. No noise. Just motion, fast, smooth, and strange. This wasn't like normal space travel. This was subspace. Colors outside the window looked broken. Time moved differently here. She could feel her thoughts speeding up, like her brain was adjusting to something unnatural. But she wasn't afraid. She was focused. Ahead of her was the Empire's largest communication gate, Relay Prime. If she reached it, she could send Ouroboros' virus into their network. One signal. One command. And half the Empire would go dark. Back on Earth, Riker watched from the control center. He and the team had limited connection with Nia, just short bursts of data, once every few minutes. Subspace didn't allow real-time contact. Still, each time her signal came through, it showed one thing. Mission on track. But they weren't alone. The Empire had noticed the disturbance. In their control towers near the outer colonies, scanners picked up something strange. A ripple. A shape that didn't match anything in their database. Small. Fast. Unknown origin. They called it Ghost Signal 91. And they sent a hunter. A ship built for speed. Silent. Deadly. Its name was Eclipse 7. Its mission was simple. Intercept. Destroy. Report. Nia didn't know the hunter was behind her yet. But Ouroboros did. The AI connected to the ship had started to predict the Empire's moves. Based on their old patterns, it knew they would try to stop her before she reached the gate. It warned her with a message on the screen. Threat detected. Pursuit probable. Evasion route prepared. She took the controls and turned the ship slightly. Not too fast. No panic. She followed the new path, trusting the machine and her instincts. In the distance, Relay Prime came into view. It was massive. Bigger than any structure Earth had ever built. Floating between stars like a dark spider, it held thousands of antennae and energy cores. It connected star systems. It moved fleets. It kept the Empire alive. Nia stared at it, amazed. That thing, it runs an empire. She checked the virus package. Still stable. Still ready. She had 10 minutes before the connection window opened. And just 7 before the hunter reached her. Eclipse 7 was getting closer. Inside its cold walls, an alien pilot stared at the readings. No life signs. No weapons. Still, orders were clear. Anything unknown was a threat. It locked on. Prepared to fire. Ouroboros didn't wait. It sent another message to Nia. Subspace pulse available. One use only. Will destabilize both ships. She understood. She could use the pulse to stop Eclipse 7. But if she used it now, her own ship would be damaged. She looked at the timer, 3 minutes to virus launch. She made her choice. The screen blinked once. Then again. And the ship fired the pulse. From the outside, it looked like nothing. Just a flicker. A shadow. A wave of silence. But inside subspace, it was a shockwave. Eclipse 7 didn't have time to react. It twisted, broke apart, and vanished into a blur of color. Nia's ship shook violently. Lights flickered. Systems went red. But it held together. Barely. She reached the relay. No alarms. No defenses. They didn't expect a ship this small, this fast, this smart. The connection opened. The virus uploaded. Nia held her breath. Then the screen flashed. Uplink complete. Signal spreading. She slumped back in her seat. It was done. Across the galaxy, the Empire felt it. Ships lost contact with each other. Command centers went dark. Fleets drifted. One by one, systems shut down. Not destroyed. Just disconnected. Like cutting the strings from a giant puppet. Back on Earth, Riker and the team cheered. The data confirmed it. Nia had done it. But her ship was badly damaged. It couldn't return through subspace. Ouroboros sent one last message. Extraction required. Signal beacon active. Riker gave the order. Earth launched its first real long-range ship built from Ouroboros' design, finished just in time. They called it Elara 1. Its mission, bring Nia home. Far away, alone in the dark, Nia waited. She looked out at the stars new, silent, and full of danger. But for the first time, she didn't feel small. She had stopped an empire. And Earth had just taken its first real step into the galaxy. Nia floated in the damaged ship, waiting. The stars outside were still. The subspace gate behind her no longer pulsed with energy. It was dead, just like the Empire's relay network. She had done it. But now she was alone. Systems were failing. Power was dropping. Oxygen was running low. The ship couldn't return on its own. She looked at the console. Ouroboros' AI flickered, slower than before. Then it spoke one last time. Rescue en route. Hold position. You are not alone. Back on Earth, Riker stood on the launch deck of Elara 1. It was Earth's first real deep space vessel. Fast. Smart. Powered by subspace drives. And inside it were Earth's best engineers, medics, and pilots. Riker had chosen the crew himself. They had one goal, bring Nia home. As the ship lifted into the sky, he gave a quiet order. Protect her. Whatever it takes. The world watched the launch in silence. For the first time, people looked to the stars and felt hope, not fear. Inside Elara 1, Commander Ray checked the beacon signal. Nia's ship is still holding position, she said. But we need to reach her fast. Her life support is nearly gone. The AI guided them through a subspace route Ouroboros had mapped. Everything about this journey was new. Unknown. Dangerous. But they had no time for fear. Meanwhile, in deep space, something stirred. Not all parts of the Empire went offline. A few distant colonies had been isolated for decades. One of them, Orvan 3, had survived the blackout. They saw the signal. They tracked the attack. and they prepared to respond. On a dark moon near Orvan 3, a secret project had been running for years. The Mind Fleet. It was not controlled by generals or admirals. It was controlled by a super AI called the Prism, a cold, perfect mind built to protect the Empire's future. Now, without orders from command, Prism activated itself. And it saw only one truth. Earth was dangerous. Earth must be erased. As Elara 1 approached Nia's location, alarms lit up. "Unidentified signal approaching," said Commander Ray. "Something big. Fast. Not in our database." The screen showed a dark shape moving toward them. It was smooth. Long, almost like it was swimming through space. Then another. And another. 6 shapes. Moving in formation. Not ships. Not alive. Something in between. Ouroboros sent a warning. Prism-class units detected. Threat level, critical. Nia's screen blinked again. She saw the shapes coming. "No," she whispered. "Not now. Not yet." She didn't have weapons. She didn't have shields. But she did have one last signal. Something Ouroboros had stored deep inside its code. A beacon not for Earth. For allies. Long ago, during the early days of Project Ouroboros, Elara had built a deep-range scanner. And by accident, they had picked up something strange, a signal from another species. It was weak, distant, and never answered. But she stored it anyway. Now, that signal lit up again. A message flashed on Nia's screen. "Outsider frequency detected. Broadcasting distress signal." She pressed send. The Mind Fleet closed in. They didn't speak. They didn't warn. They just prepared to fire. Commander Ray shouted, "We're not going to make it." Nia closed her eyes. And then the stars blinked. From behind a dying star, a ripple of blue light exploded forward. A ship appeared. Not human. Not Empire. Something older. It hovered between Elara 1 and the attackers. It was tall. Thin. Made of white gold metal that shimmered like liquid. And then, it spoke. To the Mind Fleet. In a voice that echoed across subspace. "This world is protected." The Mind Fleet paused. For the first time, they didn't move. The Prism AI tried to respond, but its systems glitched. The old ship didn't wait. It fired once. A beam of light, clean and sharp, cut through the nearest Prism unit. No fire. No explosion. Just silence and then dust. The others turned and vanished. Commander Ray stared at the screen. "What was that?" Nia smiled, weak but still alive. "I think we just met someone who hates the Empire as much as we do." Elara 1 docked with her ship. They pulled her out, unconscious but breathing. As the crew cheered, the alien ship remained for one more moment. Then, just as fast as it came, it disappeared. But it had left behind one message. Written in Earth's language. We heard her voice. She is not alone. Back on Earth, Riker read the message and whispered. They didn't just build a weapon. They built a signal strong enough to wake the galaxy.